Strong or hateful language may be used in this video for demonstrative purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. You're a little bitch. What's the matter, can't reach? Your music is gay. Your shirt is gay. You're too short. You're too fat. You're too ugly. You're too geeky. You're too skinny. You're too nerdy. Bullying. And the way we're dealing with it these days is one of the things I can't stand. When I was growing up in the 90s, I had a bully in grammar school, or elementary school, whatever you call it. I'm not gonna name names, but it began with an M and it ended in an at. He was this one kid who always bugged me, chased me on the playground. People made fun of me for knowing a lot about computers. They made fun of me for liking the Beatles and Paul McCartney music. You name it, people picked on me for it, and I kind of brought some of it upon myself just because of who I was. I don't think I deserved it, but people find things. When I was at basketball practices in elementary school, up until like late 7th grade, 8th grade maybe, I was tucking in my t-shirts into my gym shorts, wearing the socks that go up my calves, and I was always short. I'm only 5'5" now, and I looked nerdy. I really was. I knew a lot about computers. I was a very fast typer. I liked different music from everybody else, and you know, everyone found something to pick on me for. A lot of my memories from back then are negative, I think, as a result of a lot of the things that were thrown at me. Some literally. I wasn't beat up physically a lot, but a lot of the words were very harmful, I think, even if they were simple. Nowadays, I try to look back on the positive things. I try to think of if there was anybody who stood up for me, and I think there were a couple, but it's very difficult to pull those memories because of how negatively I've been affected. Yeah, so believe it or not, I was bullied when I was younger. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. And I never really took the opportunity to do something about it. I never actually was responsible for defending myself. I always went to a teacher. I went to the principal. I went to my mom and dad. I told everybody under the sun that I could. Didn't really get too much out of it. There were a couple times that I did get beat up physically. It wasn't by people in my school, fortunately. It was somebody else outside. It was a friend of another friend. I wanted to be a police officer at one point, and there was a kid who wasn't a real fan of that, and I did get punched a couple times hanging out with one of my friends for doing that. He didn't really defend me either. Physical abuse wasn't all that common, and I'm glad that I wasn't hurt any more than I was. I think that we've been doing things a little bit wrong. I think that the 90s was kind of a weird phase when it comes to bullying and the education system. We didn't have a lot of the rules that we have today. I mean, kids are getting kicked out of schools these days just for making their fingers look like pistols. It's stupid. These days, I think we're going about it very wrong. Kids aren't defending themselves. They're running off and letting other people deal with their own problems. And I think in the end that's going to end up to be a problem, because these kids are growing up not knowing how to process the world around them, not know how to really deal with their problems. To go off the example of what I've been given for myself personally, if I had the guts to say to the kid who was bullying me in school, all right, you know what, I've had enough of this. We're going to deal with this outside after school on this day in this location, I think things would have been better off. Would I have gotten in trouble? You know what, in the end, it may be worth it. Because nowadays you see kids bottling everything up. They're letting other people deal with their problems and nothing's really being done. And now we've got kids shooting everybody else because they're just angry. Everyone's angry. In the case of this kid on Friday who shot up people in California, he wasn't able to get dates with anybody, and he didn't like how women ignored him, or girls, whichever. You know what? That's something you just have to deal with. You just go on through it. You can't let that bug you. I mean, this kid was a little bit off in the first place, but generally, there's things that are bullying and there's things that are not. If a girl's not attracted to you or they detect that something is off, they're probably gonna back away. So shooting people up because of bullying, because of that, whatever, this is what we're doing to the world. This is the kind of reactions that people are having because they don't know how to deal with their problems. And whereas I'm not advocating violence per se, especially in the sense of gun violence, I think honestly, because gun violence is so prevalent, that we should be learning self-defense with guns and how to handle that properly. That's a whole different debate though. And when it comes to bullying, we need to get these kids to understand how to defend themselves, even if it's passive aggressive, even if it's making themselves look crazy and they're not, just to make the bully leave them alone. There's methods to use. But I didn't do anything about my bullying because I was afraid. I was afraid of getting hurt more. I was afraid of getting in trouble. I was afraid of people not liking me anymore because, a lot of it was a lose-lose situation. The zero tolerance policies, I don't think they're working. I don't think they're even appropriate in certain cases because zero tolerance is taking away our sense of humor in some aspects as well. You can't make a joke. You can't, even if it's a joke in jest, someone's going to be offended by a joke at all times. I have a hard time taking jokes because of the treatment that I received growing up. I can dish them out, but I have an emotional response when I'm dealt a joke that is kind of directed at me, kind of puts me down. I struggle with them. I try to fight them and keep up, but it's difficult. I do my best now, but that's just how it is. But I'm sick and tired of how bullying is, as we can't do anything about it besides tell your teacher, tell your parents, tell this guy, tell that guy. Just tell people. Telling people's not going to help. I mean, it's just going to that just displays to bullies, I think, generally, that you're not strong enough to deal with your own situations. Now, please feel free to disagree with me. Let me know what you think in the comments below, because this is a very difficult situation. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions on it. This is just my opinion on it. I don't know what exactly we can do to fix the issue. You can't. Wherever you go, there's going to be an asshole somewhere. So we just kind of have to deal with it. We need to learn the right way to deal with it, and I don't think that zero tolerance policies and all that stuff are helping. I think we need to teach children some kind of defense for themselves, because when you talk to your parents and grandparents and they tell you about the people who bothered them and how they duked it out and things were better, they did well. They lived. So let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.